listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast about one of the most legendary bands of all time, Deep Purple. We take a look at the music, history, and people behind the band Deep Purple and beyond. Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, the first and only podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 229, Remembering Bernie Marsden. And coming to you from the temperate suburbs of Chicago, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, I'm your co-host, Ron Batola.
Ron Batola? What? Did somebody call you Ron, or did you get mail addressed to Ron?
Kinda. So while I was so as you know, we got these spiffy Deep Purple podcast business cards printed up. Heyo.
Waited almost 5 years to get them made.
See, and there's the back for anybody on the video.
A little QR code to scan.
Yeah. So anyways, and I have a couple of boxes. I'll give you one when you come out.
How many
for the
did
show.
You get made?
250. So there's like one.
All right.
Something in each one. I can't do math. Anyways, so
that was a difficult math problem.
125. There we go.
Oh, we nailed it.
Oh, no calendar, folks.
First try.
Ron, no calendar calculator.
I guess you're not a math guy.
Oh my
goodness. Can I get a calendar? I got to do some math.
Let me see. 30 days past September. -2, carry the 1. So anyways, I was going to pick up these cards that I had made, to get them printed. And so I walk in, give them my name, can't find it, email address, can't find it, giving them all this freaking information. And then finally, like, oh, do you have the order number? And I'm like freaking out because like Rich and I went to, a show the other night, and I was picking them up that afternoon, which was, I'd had them printed a while before that, but it was my first chance to pick them up. I'm like, they'll be ready. I'll swing by. So I'm figuring maybe they lost it. They didn't have it. Gave them the order number, and they're like, oh, John Matola. We thought you said Ron Batola. And I'm like, really?
Ron Butthola.
And so then she just kind of leaned over the counter and went, it's been a day.
And you're like, I get it.
I'm like, yeah, I get it. Me too. Said, some bitch has been calling me Ron for the past 5 minutes. No, but anyway, she was very nice. And then I got my cards and went on my way. But anyways, yes. So, figuring my alter ego, Ron. Yeah, he's going to do things differently.
When you see it's the summer of Ron.
Well, actually, it's going to be the fall, fall and winter of Ron, I guess.
The fall of Ron sounds worse for you. The rise of Ron and the fall of Ron.
Oh well.
What are you gonna do? But I remember I had it on my wall when we were teenagers. But I got that piece of mail. Do you remember the like I would always get creative spellings and everything, but the worst one I got, do you remember what it was?
For you?
Yeah. What they called me?
You know what? As soon as you tell me, I'll probably remember, but I can't.
It's a tough one, but it was Vattel Beavelry.
I remember that one.
Vattel Beavelry. Yeah, I had a few of them, but that was definitely the Hall of Fame.
Wow, V. That's not even Vattel is not even close to Nate.
And it's like, what? Like, how did they get it? Like, I must have had to give them my name in some way. Like, if I said my name or whatever, like I don't know at what point it transformed into Vattel Beavelry. I'm like, it's like, what's your name, Nathan? Oh, okay, Vattel. It's like not even close.
Oh, it reminds me of the Simpsons episode where Homer's going through the mail and he's just like, oh, we have a special message for Homer J. Simpsoy, and he's like, yeah, I'm sure he'll get it, and then he just threw it in the trash. Homer Simpsoy.
Oh boy. Well, we are here today, of course, to honor the late great Bernie Marsden. And yeah, so we're gonna get into that. We'll go through our normal, few of our normal little things as we do some housekeeping before we get into the meat of the episode. But there's a few ways you can support our show. Our show is 100% listener supported, ad free. And if you receive value from our show, please consider giving us some value back. One of those ways is by leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We're getting closer and closer to our 100th review on Apple Podcasts. So if you leave us a 5-star review and you're number 100, you'll receive a special goodie bag or something from us. We haven't a special ditty bag.
Ditty bag.
Yeah, a special. A special ditty bag. Where is it? Here we go. Ditty bag.
Why don't you just blow it out your ditty bag?
That's all right. That's our ditty bag jingle.
There we go. I was going to tell you, I'm very upset that you did not use that in the show's outro. You used like every other one except that one, but
yeah, I didn't think of that one. But then we also have
you kept it.
Itty bitty ditty bag.
ditty bags in pop culture. Who would have known it? And if you're curious as to what we're talking about, check out our last episode where we dive deep into the history and story of ditty bags, which are basically just bags. I don't know why they call them ditty bags. So yeah, the lucky 100th reviewer will get a special a goodie ditty bag, a ditty goodie bag from us.
Ditty, yeah.
With our some various Deep Purple merch and whatnot in it. So
some ditties.
Some ditties. Yeah, we'll record a few ditties and put them in our ditty bag for you. You can also support us by buying merch on our Etsy store. Gonna get some, since we're almost in fall. This is our last show. Well, when this comes out, we'll be in September, but not officially fall yet. So, gonna get some knit hats up on the store for the because we had them made at the end of. Was it the end of February or something last year? So we'll get some of those up on the store. You can become a patron on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or on PayPal. You can help support the show that way. We put all the money back into the show, help us upgrade our equipment, help us get albums, help us go see Glenn Hughes next month, and all that great stuff. You can also send us cash at Cash App, $DPPOD, or support us on Ko-fi. So speaking of next month, Glenn Hughes, September 19th. As this episode comes out at the beginning of September, it's coming up fast. We'll only have a couple more episodes before we go to see him playing with Yngwie at the Palladium in Worcester, Massachusetts. If you are interested in going to that show or want to meet up with us beforehand, please let us know. And any news on the meetup?
Well, I tried to get some info earlier today. I didn't get a ton of responses from our friends. I just basically you responded in the
I'll
group.
Be there.
Yeah. Well, I feel like seeing is that Glenn Hughes VIP, which we're going to, you said starts around 6, that it's probably going to have to be more of an afternoon, like mid-afternoon meetup for us, kind of a mid-afternoon, like late lunch type of thing, because doing the whole like early dinner thing is probably going to cut into that, even though the venue is like right across the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't want to get too much into it. So I don't think at that time really going to need to reserve anything, especially since it's probably going to be like, you know, a small
Tuesday
group
night, right?
Yeah. And I mean, even though it's like a show night, I mean, you know, you figure if we're there like, I don't know, let's just say 3 in the afternoon. I mean, that's, you know, kind of between the lunch and dinner time, and places usually aren't that busy. So I think we should be good to go.
Nice. Yeah, and we'll also probably after the show, depending when the show gets out, go out for a drink or two with anybody that's interested. So it should be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, looking forward to it. Looking very
Me too.
much forward to it. Okay, so before we move on, we do have something that I had to get out there, and that is, heyo!
Hi-oh!
We have a new, well, not a new patron. I'm sorry, but it is a patron upgrade. So you know what that means.
Patron upgrade.
Lord Longford is upgrading to the £3.50 tier and naming it. He's naming it the Deep Purple New York tier.
Deep Purple New York.
That's right, folks. Deep Purple New York.
I
If you
like
wanna
the
join him at that
patrons
tier.
naming their own tiers here. It's a
Yeah.
lot of it's getting to be fun. Takes the work off of you.
Exactly. Deep Purple New York tier. I mean, you can't beat that.
No.
I mean, it's great. So yeah, so we'll be recognizing him again when we get to that. So thank you, Lord Longford. Appreciate you, and you're very active in the Discord as well. And that's one of the many perks you get as a patron. You get access to our live stream episodes as well as access to our patrons only Discord. Where we have all sorts of nonsensical chats, some about Deep Purple, some not. And speaking of our patrons, coming in at the $25 Uncommon Man tier, we have Ovis Nakvi and Purple Maniac. At the 15 Squid tier, we have Alan. At the 10-pound Good Doctor tier, we have... I can never find this one. Oh, there we go. We have Dr. Jill Brees and Dr. Mike Catan.
Somebody get me some doctors.
Thank you very much. And at the turn it up to $11 tier, we have Clay Wambacher, Frank Thielgard Mortensen, Mikkel Steen, and Will Porter, PhD-PP. At the $10 Someone Came tier, we have Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Victor Campos, and Better Call Saul Evans. And then at the next tier, we have
Hughes a wee by 2033.
Can you like at some point can we like overdub me just going bleh in there, because I'm really missing that 30s Dracula.
send me some blues after the episode. Attach a couple of blue files when you send me over your file, and I'll edit them in. Fielding Fowler,
Edit
of course,
them in.
the creator of the Hughes a Ween by 2033 tier,
Yes.
and of course at the In Memoriam tier, the wonderful late Jerry Kelly and family. We appreciate you and all you did for the show, and you're in our hearts and in our memories. Okay, so just one more order of business before we get into the show proper, and if you've been listening, then you know what that is. Postcards from the Edge of Connecticut. And this time, once again, actually, we haven't got one from actual Connecticut in a while. This one is another one from Michigan, and if you see that, it's some flowers.
Looks like a
that
birthday
spell-
cake.
It does look like a birthday cake. It spells out Carling, which is, of course, a beer company. And it says, it says here, Carling Community Corsage. One of the show places in Frankenmuth, Michigan is Carling Brewing Company's Floral Park, a block from the brewery. It spells out the firm's name in a brilliant display of colors, from 3,400 petunias, 1,400 sweet alyssum, 400 salvia, 1,450 marigolds, 275 dwarf dahlias, 450 purple leaf basils, and 300 dwarf ageratum. Wow, it's very precise about that.
Yes.
That's a lot of petunias.
Oh.
So this is another one of these wide format panoramic postcards, and it says, Nate, now here's a place you can get to go in Michigan. We were there on August 25th, 1971. Gas was $30.09 per gallon. Go and enjoy Gemütlichkeit. It's a German word. Gemütlichkeit. Gemütlichkeit. We need Raf Kaff. Well, let's see what the pronunciation lady says.
Gemütlichkeit.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
Gemütlichkeit. I did okay.
Not bad.
See that, Raf Kaff? But thank you for the postcard. We were actually right by there on our trip this past weekend when we went to Kalamazoo, and we were in that area. There's also a kind of famous town around there that does like this 365-day-a-year Christmas store and Christmas town, but we did not stop by because it kind of creeps us out. All right. Oh, and yeah, so recently, this is from the Gardeau, of course, and he sent me this postcard box, but immediately after I sent this postcard box, it goes in the box, he started sending me postcards that are too big for the box. The last two postcards.
Oh, Gardeau. How does his mind work?
Panoramic postcards. So that's all
How
right,
does
though.
his mind work? He's just like, here's a box for all those postcards I've been sending you. Now I'm going to send you ones that don't fit.
I'm gonna send you ones that are about an inch longer or wider than the box. But
Oh,
who knows what goes on inside the mind of the
well,
Gardo?
that's part of his game. And then he sends you enough of those. Then he sends you a bigger box and then bigger postcards that don't fit in that box until finally you just have a big pile down there.
Yeah, it's getting pretty good. I'd say the box is, I don't know, about maybe 10% full, maybe.
Wow.
Not bad.
It's a lot more postcards need to be gotten.
Yeah, well, people have been sending them, so we'll see what happens. We are part of the Deep Dive Podcast Network. Check us out at deepdivepodcastnetwork.com, where we got shows about all sorts of bands, any sort of band that you'd be interested in, or type of music. So check it out. And John, here we are. Sad occasion. We actually had a show scheduled for today that we canceled. That was a live stream about some live stuff. So we'll get to that. Who knows? Maybe next week or the week after. But you know, we get the sad and unexpected news that Bernie Marsden had passed away. He released video. I don't know if it was that day or earlier. So, you know, not exactly sure what happened. I know he had some health issues and he had a surgery and stuff like that, but he had just released a video talking about he was looking forward to getting back on the road and everything. And then we got this really sad and unfortunate news. So we just put together just a real quick, you know, kind of reached out to some of our patrons, you know, Jorg Planer, some of the folks that really know and celebrate Bernie's work, and got some, you know, some of my picks and some recommendations from folks about things we should play, and figured it's light on the White Snake because most folks really know that. So it's kind of a, you know, to maybe just celebrate some of his music that was a little less well known or a little less mainstream, and show that off to people, some really interesting stuff. But what's your I don't know, what's your feelings on the Bernie thing, and do you remember how you were first exposed to him? What's going on in your mind after hearing this terrible news?
Well, the first thing that I thought was just seems like so many people are passing away that were, you know, our musical idols when we were growing up. And you know, it's crazy to think about that, because when we were kids, I mean, they're probably, like, I would say roughly a lot of them like 30 years older than us,
Yep.
give or take. So they were not that old. They're probably like our age now when we were discovering them,
Or younger.
or thereabouts, or younger. And now it's weird seeing all of these iconic musicians and people, you know, that were on all these albums that we grew up with and were so important to us, and they're not here anymore. I think it's the same. You feel the same thing when, you know, anybody passes on. This is like, you know, you feel like, wow, I really took it for granted that they'd always be around. But I think that's a great reason to, you know, celebrate their work here on the show. I feel like we've brought to light, you know, to not only our listeners, but to ourselves, you know, a lot of these, you know, albums and artists that we probably haven't thought of in a long time. I know I haven't, but yeah, it was pretty sad. Of course, I think that he was a kind of an unsung hero in Whitesnake, because as we have always discussed, that version of Whitesnake was not the most popular after they got huge with the '87 album, even though he is partially responsible for Here I Go Again. It's one of their biggest hits. I think that was it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was Here I Go Again. Okay, I was
Yeah,
like,
they're the
I'm like, am I
biggest,
thinking of the
probably
right
the
one? And
biggest
then I
one.
have to hum it in my head. But the only really exposure that I had to Bernie, really outside of Whitesnake, which was actually a long time ago, was like I went to get I think like early 2000s. So now we're talking way back. It was one of my first tattoos that I was going to get, and the
You're
tattoo
gonna get a
artist was
Bernie
asking me.
Marsden tattoo?
No, he was asking me what kind of music I liked, and so I was
Oh, okay.
telling him, and he happened to have the Bernie Marsden CD, the Green and Blues CD, which just, like, I don't know if it couldn't have just come out, because I was like think that came out in 94. So it was 2 years. So, but maybe within the past like several years it had come out, and he's like, oh, this is a great CD. And he put it on. So that was one of his solo CDs, his blues tribute to Peter Green, I believe it was.
Oh, right.
Right. And then I remember I believe that I picked it up after that, and it's, part of the kind of expanded Deep Purple collection I have. But I mean, I haven't I haven't heard it in years, and I'm not really familiar with a ton of his stuff outside of Whitesnake, although I knew that he was pretty active. He's got a pretty impressive catalog if you look at it. I mean, it's not like he just did that and then went away. Like, he was part of a lot of major stuff
Yeah.
in music.
Yeah, and I think my first real, when getting into Deep Purple and then discovering the Mark III and IV stuff, which was even harder to come by in the States, and then learning of Pace, Ashton Lord it's got to be the first time I really heard. It was either that or the earlier, like I had a few of the early Whitesnake albums, and that was when, and that's not even the first thing he did. He was, not as well known as he was later on in Whitesnake, but listening to him on Pace, Ashton Lord and just saying, wow, like this guy is incredible, and he's playing and he's singing and all this stuff. And then, whenever, we've talked about this a million times, but when you just kind of discover things like, oh my God, John Lord and Ian Pace were also in Whitesnake. What's going on? And then then you're like, oh, Whitesnake was essentially Pace, Ashton Lord with a couple of little changes there.
Mhm.
And then just picking off albums one by one and listening to them and seeing that transition from Deep Purple to Pace, Ashton Lord to Whitesnake, and then him leaving and going do his own thing after that. But just like you said, he is kind of an unsung hero because he was a major part of the songwriting. He even had lead vocal bits on Whitesnake, and somebody that was a great player, a bluesy player, but not one of these shredders or anything like that, but hugely respected in the community by so many artists and so many guitar players. And we'll get into that in a little bit, some of the outpouring of support that he got. But yeah, I was really surprised by this one because I knew he was, he had some bouts of bad health, but it looked like one of those things that, oh, he got through that and now he's okay. And like you said, another reminder not to take these folks for granted. The whole reason we started the show is because well, not the whole reason, but one of the catalysts for starting the show was you reaching out to me and saying you want to go see Glenn Hughes performing Deep Purple in 2019 or 2018? No, 2019. And it never happened. But it kind of got, and at the time, even then, it wasn't that long ago, but I just, there'll be another opportunity. Then he went off with the Dead Daisies and all this, and I'm like, oh, God, I missed my only opportunity to see him playing these songs. I'm an idiot. And I'm not like a huge live music guy, but this has really changed my mind with like all of these folks. Like, we're never going to get another chance to see Bernie live. And I've seen Glenn live, but I've never seen him doing the Deep Purple stuff. So taking advantage of those things, because, at the age that these folks are on, and, some of them are a little more private than others. They keep the stuff to themselves. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, or if one show could be their last, whether it's because they retire or they pass away or whatever it is. So yeah, it's really sad, and just want to really pay tribute to him with some really amazing stuff. Like you said, his amazing catalog. And real quick to start it off, just the post that came as kind of a shock, which was this post here made on Bernie Marsden's account. It says, on behalf of his family, it is with deep sadness we announce the death of Bernie Marsden. Bernie died peacefully on Thursday evening with his wife Fran and daughters Charlotte and Olivia by his side. Bernie never lost his passion for music, writing, and recording until the end. And then I can pepper these throughout the episode, but a few little reactions. David Coverdale said that morning, "Good morning. I've just woken to the awful news that my old friend and former Snake Bernie Marsden has passed. My sincere thoughts and prayers to his beloved family, friends, and fans. A genuinely funny, gifted man whom I was honored to know and share a stage with. R.I.P. Bernie." We've got one from a simple reply by Glenn Hughes. Rest easy, my dear friend. Graham Bonnet says, I was sad and shocked to learn of Bernie Marsden's passing today. Bernie was such a lovely guy, a true lover of music, and an absolute joy to be around. Some of you may not know this, but in addition to being a top-notch guitar player, he also sang very, very well. He was very much like Rory Gallagher in his abilities. I did an album with Bernie along with Cozy and Ray Fennick, a.k.a. Forcefield, as well as playing with him for Don Airey's Rock and Blues charitable events in the summertime. He really was a great musician. I paid him a compliment once about his singing, and he was so pleased that I had. I was looking forward to seeing him on the road one of these days, but that opportunity has now passed. We were asked to fill in for him headlining the Winter Storm Festival in Troon, Scotland this December. I know he'll be there in spirit, and I will keep him in my thoughts, particularly on that day. Rest in peace, my friend. Love you. And then maybe one more before we break for the other stuff. But all right, this one's from Greg Smith. With Doogie White saying, R.I.P. to the great Bernie Marsden, original Whitesnake guitarist. I was lucky enough to meet and spend a bit of time with him a few years ago while playing with Taiketo in Troon, Scotland. He was a true gentleman and a great guitarist. So, some sad remembrances of a great player. But hey, I've got some stuff loaded up, and the earliest kind of stuff, and this isn't going to be a complete career retrospective or anything, but just some interesting things that some of you will be familiar with and some of you may be hearing for the first time. But the first up is this, and I'll have links to all of this stuff in the show notes. Most of the stuff can be found on YouTube. But the first one is this video. It's not actually a video, but a audio that you can find on YouTube of him, a demo that he did with UFO, a demo track from UFO's Phenomenon. This is Bernie Marsden on guitar, Phil Mogg on vocals, Pete Way on bass, and Andy Parker on drums. I think it's a little silent at the beginning, if I remember. It's like a...
Sounds like a Rod Stewart song.
There. It's very like happy, sort of. It's an energetic and fun solo that he throws in there.
Doesn't that make you think a little bit of like an early Rod Stewart?
Yeah, good call.
With Bernie on guitar.
You played with Rod. Who knows? All I know is every time I listen to something by UFO, I always think I should listen to more UFO. But then it seems like I never do.
I've tried it and I haven't really gotten into it.
I guess I haven't found the right album to like really hook me in.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
So this is early. I mean, this is 73, so he would go on to do a lot of stuff past this. But yeah, I'm definitely UFO novice.
This is good stuff, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like good, solid rock. I mean, what else can you say about it?
He's getting a pretty long solo spot here.
Oh yeah, I got like what felt like a 45-second or minute-long guitar solo.
Yeah.
This has got that real, just classic rock feel to it, and I don't know, it's probably different, and our European listeners can write in and let us know, but this is not some, as far as I know, you don't hear UFO on classic rock radio in the States.
Yeah, I don't think we really did.
Unless someone wants to throw out some song out there that I just never knew was UFO, it's not something I can recall ever hearing on the radio.
No, at least around here, I don't think that they were played on the radio a lot. Like when we were growing up. I mean, I know now, like these other satellite radios, they'll play everything, but
I'm sure it's on deep tracks.
right.
Now the Gardo is going to start sharing UFO tracks in the Discord.
No, there was like the one that I heard most was like Lights Out, which I thought was really good.
On the radio, or
no, just like of their songs. Like I don't think that I've heard it, but when I did hear UFO, that I heard like Lights Out, Doctor, Rock Bottom.
Okay.
Just to name a few. I think those might be the only ones that I know. But Lights Out is the one that I've heard like in a kind of a like a classic rock mix, or like if you like this, most of our stuff that we like, if you like this, then you'll like, and then they always throw that in from UFO, typically,
yeah.
or like one of the other two. And then I might have gone on to try and listen to something from that album, or from like your greatest hits, and never really, I kind of lost interest after a few songs. Maybe like you said, haven't found the right album yet.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you just got to find that right gateway.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That was good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. And
good early Bernie.
Most of these I tried to do actual videos, actually seeing him playing with some of these folks. There's only a couple that aren't videos, and that's one of them because it's an old demo track. But this one is from Cozy Powell's Hammer. And this one has an extremely annoying watermark on it, so I apologize. I did reach out to Jorg, and he said that this guy always does this on his videos. And
oh boy,
so he must be the only person that has this video, and you can't find a version of this without this watermark. Unless you have one, send it to me. So it's really annoying and distracting, but it is really great because on this one you've got Cozy Powell's Hammer, so you've got Bernie Marsden, Don Airey, Cozy Powell, and here we go. This one's called Little Woman.
Where is it?
Oh yeah, I gotta share it with you. Here we go.
I saw you kind of rock it, and I was like, uh-oh, he's not sharing it.
Oh, he's rocking. Here we go.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's an annoying watermark.
What, you didn't say it was a dancing watermark?
Yeah, it's moving. That's what makes it even worse.
Yeah.
So there you go, Cozy. You can see Don Airey behind him. And there's Bernie to his side.
He's having fun.
And Clive Shaman, I'm not sure, on bass guitar. And the vocalist is Frank Aiello. Nice close-up of Bernie, though, on that solo. In putting together these videos, it's just another reminder of how many albums we can cover.
Oh yeah.
And this one would be on our master list anyway because it's got Don Airey on it. But I love he's got that, and you hear him progress over time. He's got that real 60s like tone.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
Well, I think it's his phrasing too. Like, I'm not sure if his influence is offhand, but it could be that as well. Wow.
Bass. this is one hell of a band, and I have another video that I'll put in the show notes we won't watch for tonight that's from the same show, so even with the annoying watermark, it's great to watch.
Well, I mean, after a couple of minutes, you just kind of forget about the watermark.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is cool, you know. It's nice. Otherwise, I'd have a seizure.
Yeah, we might have to put a warning on it for that. Kind of looks like he's reminding me of John Lawton, the singer.
Yeah.
More so his look than his voice, just his kind of like less curly hair though. But that was a good point what they said earlier too. You can hear Bernie on the background vocals here, but I think it was Graham that said about his singing.
People didn't know.
He's such a good singer. And
Well, I mean, even remember the Whitesnake albums? We were like, remember there were a bunch of songs where like, oh, I thought that was just Coverdale, and he sounded weird.
yeah, when you kind of like are just listening in the background without focusing, and then you're all of a sudden, oh, this is a different voice.
Yeah.
Well, it goes. Look at Don Airey. He just had all he had was a Fender Rhodes and a little synth. That's kind of
What year was that?
I believe that's 74.
Wow.
But I have his most recent trio of albums, which is, well, no pun intended, his King's album, his trio, King's album where he does the three blues guys, Albert King, B.B. King, and Freddie King.
Mhm.
The Trios album where he does all songs by Power Trios, and then the Chess album where he does stuff from Chess Records. So it's a really cool little like trilogy of albums he did. Yeah, it's like a vanity project because he's just doing great songs that he loves. Does one of my all-time favorite Albert King songs on it, which I was really excited about. But the thing that struck me the most is these albums came out when he was 70 and his voice sounds exactly the same, like Glenn Hughes level, exactly the same. Like you're
That's
listening
great.
to it and you think, if you played this for somebody who didn't know who it was, they'd be like, oh, that's some guy that's 20, 25, 30 years old singing. And, you know, he just hadn't lost a single bit playing either, but vocally you figure that that's going to be one of those things that will go sooner. But I don't know, must have just really took care of his voice. And, you know, another guy that, as far as I know, was never a smoker, so I'm sure that counted in his favor. But really, really great voice. Okay, so next one up we have is from a band called Babe Ruth, which is always kind of funny to me, and some pretty oh boy, some bonehead left the door open. Oh my god.
Do you want to take care of that?
I don't know what to do. The only thing I know what to do in this situation is
Devil Dog, the Hound of Hell, Tuesday at 9, 8 Central Mountain. Right after
play our jingle.
Just work her into the show.
It's not even the dog's fault. Some bonehead. She was creeping around down here, like, because somebody left the door open. So, anyway, yeah. So Babe Ruth, they got some kind of legendarily bad album covers, but really great music. It's like the album. There's one album cover that I think it's like literally like this weird looking guy with a baseball bat hitting a ball or something. It's just like it's
my
very very on the nose. I'm going to murder some of my children. And maybe this dog.
Some of, you know,
Once I
two
find
or
out
three.
who did it. Once I find out who did it. So this one is Babe Ruth, Sweet, Sweet Surrender is the name of the song. And away we go. Here it is. Baby Ruth with Sweet, Sweet Surrender. And that's like, I only had to get about a millisecond into this before I loved it.
Gee, I wonder why.
1 moment.
It's been such a long time. You play with my heart and made me fall in love with you. I had such a hard time.
Yeah, all you need is a funky synth and everything, and I'm all in.
No, this is definitely like a like an early 70s, like an early to mid 70s, just kind of like feel good, like pop rock, funky type of song.
And this one is contrary to the picture there that's being shown. There's Don Airey. So this is from
Hey.
Igor's Deep Purple Universe on YouTube. Great one to follow. You can always notice he's got the little curtains around the video.
Yeah.
Puts a lot of really cool, great stuff up. But this is Bernie Marsden, Don Airey, and Neil Murray.
Nice.
This part kind of sounds like it could be musically could sound like a little bit of Whitesnake.
Yeah, I was thinking that a little bit.
There's a young Neil Murray there.
Now, is this
And
around the
these guys,
same time?
Marsden and Murray and Airey are just like, they're always bumping into each other all over the place in different bands.
Was this around the same time, like 74?
This one is 76.
Oh, okay.
A little later.
Yeah, I could tell. It's kind of that mid 70s light, funky light rock.
Yeah. I gotta get my hands on some Babe Ruth records.
There he is. There's a little bit more recognizable tone from his Whitesnake days.
Yeah. You know, Ray, you don't hear a lot of tracks with Don Airey just doing piano. He's got one of my favorite things, which is like a combination of acoustic and, you know, he's doing acoustic piano, but you get the those little synth in the background. It's like, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's very 70s sound.
Yeah. So really great stuff. Then of course, after that point, Paice, and Lord forms, and we covered that album way back when, probably in our first year or so, or maybe even early. Well, not earlier, but in our first year,
before we were a show.
We did it before it was a show. But we never covered this, and I would love to cover this entire live show, but they did like a celebration live performance to kind of release the album. And what I'll play for you is the opening track from the album live. So this is Paice, and Lord, Ghost Story. There's Tony Ashton looking like a vampire. I love it. I love it. He looks like he's got that high collar on.
What a character.
And there's Bernie on the double, like Jimmy Page style guitar. John Lord ripping into the electric piano here.
Oh, Pacey with the beard.
Bearded Pacey, a favorite of mine. A lot of beards in this group. But one of the reasons this band imploded was Tony was just kind of having a
Drunk?
bit of stage fright.
Oh,
I don't know what he was on at this point. What is this shirt? He has like an embroidery on his shirt. It looks like it says Ronnie. Maybe it's Roland.
I can't see. He looks like Lemmy in this video.
He does. It's a big production, though. Have all of these folks on stage.
Yeah. Who's on bass over there?
Paul Martinez.
Oh, he looks like the guy from Spinal Tap. He does.
Which one?
I don't know.
There's
Where's it?
Bernie.
The one that is in. What's his face?
Oh, Christopher Guest.
Yeah, Christopher Guest. That's
Looks
it.
like
Yeah.
Nigel Tufnell.
He does.
Tasco. So Tony Ashton's doing a very sneaky little solo on the organ. But this
we
production,
play-
a whole horn section, backup singers,
Yeah.
this whole band, the stage.
Some good stuff.
Tony Ashton's like chewing on the side of the piano.
Freaking character, this dude.
Oh, he's the best. He does kind of look like Lemmy. Probably the handlebar mustache is contributing.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's crazy is he looks just like my father-in-law. Like when my father-in-law was that age, like he could have passed for Tony Ashton.
I'm sure a fact that is not lost on you and your fandom.
No. And he's probably essentially the exact same age, too.
Wow.
Weird band, man. I understand why people didn't really know what to make of them, but I love it.
Yeah, but good stuff.
Damn.
Now that song right there is the reason that we do this podcast. If you think about it, because I
Go
mean
on.
that is just some crazy, interesting, good music by just all these members of Deep Purple and non-Deep Purple, and it makes you like listen to it and go, "Wow, this is great. I want to discover more." And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
We just kept going down the rabbit hole and then off on these different tangents, like following the tree this way, following the branches this way. And it's like when I hear something like that, I immediately am just like, wow, I want to hear more of that. I want to go find out more of that. And who knows, you know what I mean? Who knows what other musicians or, you know, producers or people you can discover through that. So that was very cool. I enjoyed.
Whenever I talk about it, I'm like astonished by like listening to myself talk about it as if I hadn't lived through it. But just to think of what it was like to go to the store, and I don't know, had I even heard of Paice Ashton Lord? Maybe not. I don't know how I first heard of it, but I remember going to Tower Records and finding the CD And Pace, Ashton, Lord, I know those names. Whoa, they had a band together. This is crazy. And then you don't know anything about it. You buy it. You're in Boston. You drive home an hour. You listen to it, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, man, I want to find out more stuff by these folks. But what can I do other than the next time I get up to Boston and save up enough money, I'm going to buy more stuff by some of these names. And I remember picking up, and I think I did some early internet searching as well and Highway Star and stuff, and found Ashton, Gardner and Dyke and picked that up. And I found Family, which was one of Tony Ashton's band, and just finding out that's like, wow, because I just remember listening to this album the first time, and this was probably one of those moments where I had branched out a little bit from the tree and said, wow, this is like some really cool stuff. As I started to just put out the feelers, like the first Whitesnake album, this, the Gillan Cherkazoo, the Butterfly Ball, like all these little ones that are really connected, and then like you said, it just branches out, and it's limitless, which is as you said, the whole point of our show is whenever I meet somebody that doesn't know anything about Deep Purple, they say, how can you have a show just about Deep Purple? I was like, we'll be dead and buried before we cover half of the stuff.
I mean, even look at the Michael Schenker album that we reviewed like not too long ago. I didn't even know until this year that most of Deep Purple was involved in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what? Yep. What the hell? And I mean, that's a road I would have never gone down. You know what I mean? So even now, yeah, discovering new stuff.
Oh yeah, and you see all these like places where they're all intertwined. It's just amazing. Got a do have a Whitesnake track, and this one is this is them live, Lie Down, I Think I Love You, from it looks like the TV show Revolver. And here we go, and I think you'll recognize the gentleman that is introducing this. So here we go.
Now the next band is not old wave, it's not new wave, it's permanent wave. Dave Coverdale has been around for ages. He used to be with Deep Purple. So here is Dave Coverdale and Whitesnake.
Dave Coverdale?
You of course recognize that, right?
What was that?
You don't recognize that?
No.
All right, we're gonna have to go back.
What is he?
Listen to the voice.
Now the next band is not old wave, it's not new wave, it's permanent wave. Dave Coverdale has been around for ages. He used to be with Deep Purple. So here is Dave Coverdale and Whitesnake.
Imagine him with a lisp. Marriage.
No way.
It's Peter Cook.
Holy shit. As soon as you said that, I put it together with his face.
It's great to hear him talking about Dave Coverdale.
Marriage.
This is a great one.
Yeah.
Incredible production values on this video. Featuring some nice Bernie background vocals.
All right, yeah, wild light production on this video, kind of annoying.
Oh yeah, very annoying. Maybe more annoying than the watermark.
Interesting that they chose this song to do live. Good choice, though.
Bernie vocal break.
Nice.
Oh, take a look in the mirror and they show you a mirror. not giving a heck of a lot of love to anyone else in the band, but I'm seeing a lot of Coverdale and Marsden. Mickey Moody beat between the legs solo there.
Nice.
He's doing like a Chuck Berry style, kind of like. Is that Chuck Berry? Who's that does that dance like that?
I'm gonna see more live Whitesnake back from this era.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. It's one we haven't covered. We covered Live in the Heart of the City, but we haven't done like a live video.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to do that one day.
Yeah, because this performance is smoking. See, and the applause at the end is real this time.
Right. the rotating stages, they just rotate back into the wall like they were there all along.
like they were a bookcase in like a murder mystery.
Yeah, exactly. You pull on the candlestick and it rotates around.
Oh, you're in like the professor's library. You pull a candlestick, and all of a sudden the wall turns around, and there's Whitesnake on the other side. 2, 3, 4.
Like, oh, finally, I found an escape from this. I found an escape from this room. Oh no, Whitesnake's here, and they're gonna perform a whole song. I gotta get out of here.
Hello, darlings.
Oh man. All right, so we should take a break at this point and thank our next round of patrons. That is, of course, our core level patrons. Big appreciation to all of them and all of their support and everything that they do for the Deep Purple podcast. We really, really do appreciate it. At the $7.77 Keep It Warm Rat tier, we have Michael Vader. At the $6.99 new nice price tier, we have Spike the Rock Cat and Sugar Tea. At the episode $6.66 tier, we have Steve Colbell, Arthur Smith,
Getting support from the patron Arthur Smith,
Anton Glaving, and Charles Meadows. At the $6.65 Almost Evil tier, we have Kenny Wymore and Michael Bagford. At the $5.99 The Nice Price tier, Robert Smith, Peter from Illinois, and Carl Hellberg. And at the 60 kroner Scandinavian Nights tier, we have Newt Morton Johansson.
It's a great life if you know we can.
At the $5.55 What's Going On Here tier, we have John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Allman, Alexei the Perfect Stranger Slepikoff, Mark Hodgetts, Kev Roberts, Percival Frequency, Scott Zerns, Cynthia Doobie, Raf Calf, and Coyote Bongwater. Thank you very much to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. Then, of course, we do have some more wonderful words that were said about Bernie. We left off with Doogie and Greg Smith. This one is from Jack Bruce's account, his official account. We are so saddened to learn of the death of Bernie Marsden. Bernie played beautiful guitar on Jack's final studio album, Silver Rails, and shared incredible performances at Jack's tribute shows. We extend our sincere condolences to Bernie's family and friends. Love, the Bruces. So another one for the episode list. This one's from JLT. I am truly saddened by the passing of Bernie Marsden. Bernie was a true talent and a genuinely real person. The world has lost an original icon, and he shall be sorely missed. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and close loved ones. R.I.P. my friend, JLT. Then we have Joe Bonamassa. I am truly heartbroken. Bernie Marsden was the kindest soul. I met him on May 4th, 2009 at my Royal Albert Hall debut, a big moment for me. After the show, he approached me and was the first person to say, "Great gig. Hi, my name is Bernie Marsden." I was in awe of him, as I was in awe that entire day. There would be many wonderful times with Bernie to come. As our friendship has grown over the past 14 years, I have found Bernie to be a great encourager, a confidant, a brilliant writer, and most of all, a dear friend. He was the best of the best and championed so many young careers while being such a brilliant musician on his own. I never saw him happier than the time we camped out at Abbey Road Studios for a month writing music together for what would become the Royal Tea album. So much talent wrapped up in such a wonderful human being. Humble, kind, and larger than life, I will always cherish my time with him and regret the moments we won't have together. This is such a great loss to me personally and a tremendous loss to the music world. He was a superstar in every imaginable way. My sincerest heartfelt condolences go out to the Fran and his family. Very nice words by Joe Bonamassa. Very well said. John Norum, very sad to hear the news of the great Bernie Marsden's passing yesterday. He was a true legend and inspiration, and our condolences go out to his family and friends. This is us with Bernie at Steelhouse Live back in the UK back in 2014. And then this is from the Moody's. They had some chemistry, those two. Mickey is remembering the good days with Bernie. Photo taken by Neil Murray during the recording of Saints and Sinners album in 1981. Great picture of the two guys. And before the break, from Neil Murray himself, sadly, I have to pass on the dreadful news that my friend and colleague since 1974, Bernie Marsden, has passed away. So many great times with him, musically and personally. A great loss. R.I.P. Bernie. So everybody making their thoughts known. It's some really great tributes there. I don't have it in my list, but I would recommend looking up the some of the Joe Bonamassa and Bernie Marsden live performances because they're really, really well done.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, two of those, two blues guys just bluesing it up. I mean, how can you go wrong?
Two blues being bros.
Blues bros. Okay. Next track we have queued up is from the band Alaska, a short-lived Bernie Marsden project. And this is Bernie Marsden and Don Airey in this band. So here we go, Alaska. This is Secrets at the Shockwave Festival in Belgium, 1985.
I like always tapping those keys like that.
Tapping those keys with a lot of gusto. Bernie backing him up on vocals. Bernie was just like such a humble guy. Not somebody to toot his own horn.
Yeah, you could tell. That's never going to get old.
He's really giving it a lot.
It's like he knows too. He's like, I'm playing 80s pop music,
Yeah, exactly.
so I'm going to do this. But I mean, look at Birdie there. It could have been like 1975 for all you know. You know what I mean? He wasn't like all blitzed out or whatever.
Right.
Just looked like a regular dude.
Well, they were like a solo by Bernie. Bernie's wearing a skinny tie though. But it might have caught it against them because they were very like dressed very like down to earth. Like, he's wearing slacks and sneakers and a button-up shirt. The singer was wearing like a denim jacket, so it wasn't like they're not doing anything crazy with their hair. Reminds me of that skit on Conan. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
David Bowie.
And again,
Great one with
Bernie
Mr.
Marsden
T.
and Don Airey teaming up. We should note.
So they only had 2 albums. Robert Hawthorne on vocals. Brian Badhams on bass. Spelled like bad hams. Brian Badhams kind of reminds me of on Monday I had to pick my son up and bring him to the orthodontist.
Yeah.
And as we were leaving, we passed down by this other doctor's office, and he like we both kind of like looked up at the office and read the name on the door, and then I looked at him and he was kind of laughing, and then I realized like it was like all happened at once, and then I just realized what I had read. The doctor's name was Dr. Grosswiener. And he was laughing.
Well,
And,
I mean,
I was laughing too. It was a great father-son moment.
I mean, I defy any man, woman, or child not to let. Well, maybe not woman, but I mean, man or child
Not
to
any
laugh
mature-
at that.
Not a woman or anyone mature, but us for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, what kid wouldn't look at that and be like,
I mean-
that guy's name is Gross Wiener?
I mean, yeah. Here we are approaching 50, and we're laughing at it. So
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm sure as soon as I hit 50, I'm like, oh no, not funny, not funny.
not you.
No,
Certainly not me.
sorry, it's funny. I mean,
Hey, I'm the ones in the group chat that was sending at one point. I was sending a lot of like fart videos and stuff, and Rich was disappointed in me.
yeah, that's right.
He's just like,
He's
you're
like
better than
low-hanging fruit.
you're like, yeah, he's not a fan of low hanging fruit. I am at times, and he's just like, you're better than this, and I'm like, am I?
Am I really better than this?
And he said something like, well, do better than if you don't think you're better. But
He's just
Yeah,
pushing
my
you for
age is
greatness,
going-
you know.
just my age going through like that phase, like for about a week, just like
Yeah, I think I think
Bravo.
I'm more likely to laugh at something like that now than when I was like a teenager.
well,
Remember
yeah, I
when
mean,
Beavis and Butthead came out, like I was like, oh no, that's like lowbrow stuff, and then quickly realized it's actually genius.
well, yeah, I mean, God, these days you got to take the laughs where you can get them, right?
Exactly. Take what we can get. The next one is an interesting one. This is this like live. I think it's a DVD, but it's a M3 Marsden and Moody unplugged. So it's from the M3 or Company of Snakes or whatever you want to call it. And they did it's basically Bernie and Moody sitting around talking about various things, talking about how they wrote songs and stuff like this. And this one is particularly interesting because it's the two of them talking about and then performing a little acoustic version of Love Hunter. So here we go. Again, this video is on YouTube, so you can check it out there.
Album, and when they got the album was when you finished it. If we run something like
say Love Hunter. This is how they started, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the acoustic thing. You always tended to write acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
Well, usually somebody's flat at 2 in the morning. Yeah.
But I mean, how did they start? Well, I think something like Love Hunter. I think I probably came up with the original feel, which was kind of based on a Bert Jansch picking thing. There was a Bert Jansch tune,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Which became.
But I remember you had that whole figure sorted out anyway before.
Well, I think the only lyrical content I ever contributed to Whitesnake from it, I'm a love hunter baby creeping up on you, which was kept. And so
you was a writer. Yeah, I think I put the Led Zeppelin bit in the next one.
A little bit.
Yeah.
When you come back from the pub.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I started on like a picking thing.
Yeah.
Works so well in this context.
Need a woman, treat me good, give me everything a good woman should.
Jeez.
Every day and every night, waiting on a brown girl, love and treat her right. I'm a love hunter, baby, thinking up on you. I'm a love hunter, baby, sneaking up on you.
What a voice.
Yeah, he's great.
Even at that point, huh?
And this is 2005. It's 15 years later, these albums I got over here, and he still sounds the same.
But man, listen, it just sounds like a straight up, like, you'd think that this was just like an actual blues song.
Yeah.
Just written by like a grizzled old blues man in the 50s or something.
Lemon Eye Garfield. Randomly generating blues man names. Yeah, you just need a fruit, an affliction, and a president, and then you've got a blues name.
Where did you come up with this?
Well, I just came up with it now. So I was like, lemon. What did I say?
Lemon-eyed Garfield.
lemon diphtheria Garfield. Mute Raspberry McKinley.
So wait a minute, is it the fruit first or the affliction?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna need to work on it a little bit.
Well, he gets like dirty pear Obama.
No, yeah, I know. I don't. You can't go that recent. It has to like. That president has to be at least 100 years old.
Oh, okay.
That
All right, so
have been in office 100 years ago.
Good Lord.
It ends at like Wilson or Hoover or something. No recent presidents.
You can't say like, I don't know, Bush would be something with Bush would probably be funny.
Roosevelt might work. Definitely not the last 50 years though. But yeah, that's fantastic. Like,
yeah.
Should have left it like that.
But I mean, that just goes to show you though, is like you've heard the old kind of story that people tell. It's just like, well, if it doesn't work on acoustics, then it's not a good song type of thing. And I always like, first time I heard that, I was like, well, it makes sense, because that's the kind of the most stripped down that you could do a song. And I mean, if a song is, I don't know, if it sucks or you can't play it like on an acoustic guitar, just sitting in a room or in like, you know, in a room with like, you know, another friend on another acoustic or something like that, another musician, then what hopes do you have of it really like adding things to it and making it bigger? Because that's like the bones of the song, you know? And
Yeah.
when you put it in a context like that, I mean, you know, Love Hunter sounds like a bluesy song, but when they play it like that on acoustics and they're doing the slide and, you know, Marsden is singing it, it's just like I said, it sounds like a legit, like old time blues song. You would never think it was a Whitesnake song if you were just not a fan. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You just be like, oh, who are these blues guys?
The guys from Whitesnake.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, really great stuff. And then we've got Company of Snakes doing a song called, which is, you know, an extension of this with Neil Murray. And this one has Neil Murray, Don Airey, Mickey Moody, Bernie Marsden. That's what they later changed to M3, which was Moody, Marsden, Murray. And this is Moody, Marsden, Murray, Airey. And Stefan Berggren on vocals and on drums, John Lingwood. So here we go. This is a song called Back to the Blues, not the same Back to the Blues as the Gary Moore Back to the Blues, but here we go. Where is the Company of Snakes? Back to the Blues. Studio recording. Just lets you hear what they were going for with this group. A very Coverdale-esque vocalist.
Sounds like Sail Away from Deep Purple.
Yep. Totally.
That picture with, is that Don Airey again?
Yep.
Well, those guys are buddies. Wow, look at that goatee. Look at that goatee on
Moody. Yep.
Moody. Oof. The thick ass goatee, man. Looks like that guy from like Twisted Sister who looks like he had like a fake. You ever see that? The guy that had like the mustache goatee thing? It almost looked like it was like not real. The Company of Snakes. I like that. I don't mind when like bands do that. If you have like the good, like, you know, you have a good bunch of musicians that were like the backing band for another band that kind of just went on and did its own thing and they call itself like something related to like the original band.
Yeah.
The Company of Snakes. Like the original Dio band did that with Last in Line.
I just looked up, you did a Google image search for Twisted Sister goatee guy.
Did it come up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see what I mean? It almost looks like he like colors it in. Every hair has to be perfect.
Like eyeliner or whatever. Like when my mom would do my Dracula costume for Halloween. But yeah, I like this because it, you know, I think you can make the argument that Whitesnake kind of became David Coverdale solo when he kind of got full control of the band in
Yeah.
87.
Which I mean is
Before
fine.
Yeah, which is fine. But this kind of harkens back to like, this is, if that band had continued on being a band, a little bit more what it would sound like. Kind of like when Living Loud did their, you know, it was basically the Diary of the Madman lineup or the Wizard of Oz lineup. But they replaced Ozzy and Randy and had Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley, and you know, you got to hear those same songs and some new songs by that group reimagined if they had continued on and been an actual band rather than just an Ozzy solo project.
But I mean, then you listen to a song like this and you're like, yeah, this is really good. But if you think about it realistically, would it have scaled the heights that later Whitesnake eventually did and became
Probably
successful? No, probably not. But that doesn't mean it's not great music.
It's one of those things where, you know, they lost a good amount of fans who were like, oh, we like the original blues and Whitesnake or whatever, but they gained 10 times that amount of fans.
Well, I mean, also, I mean, look at like these guys too around this time. Like, I mean, Marsden was, you know, a little bit of a bigger guy. You know, Moody had the goatee, like, bandana thing going on. Like, they were not image-wise what they were looking for in the late 80s. Like, could you imagine those guys, like, all, you know, in Whitesnake 87, like, all with, you know, all the other guys next to him teased up hair and, like, you know, all that stuff? Nah.
Yeah, which is a shame that there was so much emphasis put on image.
Yeah,
And, you know,
and I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, they weren't into it, and I mean, it's just like, and that's
yeah,
what
Don Airey never had like the frizzed up hair or anything. Can you imagine? It would be great. But you know, you look at some of those bands that were pretty popular in the 70s. Some of those guys were just straight up ugly. They were just ugly bands.
It's true.
I mean,
It's
you just look at
true.
some of these bands and you're like, oh, this could not have, in the video era, this would not have worked. Which is a shame, because then you put, in a lot of ways, put image over audio, and I mean,
Yeah, but that's what sold music at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, it's just like, you're like, hey, this song by Foghat is great. And then you go Google them and you're like, ah, never mind.
I remember I never saw the video for Black Betty by Ram Jam until, you know, like what, 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? It's
Not in a long time.
you know,
I don't even
Betty
know if I
is a
remember it.
badass song, you know, and it's just, and then you see these guys and like, oh my God, these guys are a bunch of dorks. You know, like they just are. I mean, that's great because they just put together some really amazing, you know, 70s rock, you know. The video is just funny because it's like them in a backyard. Like think of any friend you knew from high school. Well, you went to a pretty good high school, so you probably knew friends that had a little more money than I did, but
You'd be surprised.
but some of those friends' backyards, it's just like, you know, a kind of shabby backyard, and these guys just, oh, Black Betty, a bam, a ram, and they just look like dweebs, but they're just doing the most badass. It's very interesting to see that dichotomy, because you just didn't see that in the video era. And if it was something like that, they would get somebody else to replace you or whatever.
Right.
If you weren't like the absolute print, they would either do a huge image makeover on you to just make you somehow be passable if you were that talented, or if you were like whatever, if you were just a bass player, you're out. We're getting a pretty boy in to replace you. We don't need we don't need a Jaco Pastorius level bass player in this rock band. We'll get whoever we can that can just barely play bass and looks better than you. So, but anyway, that was the Company of Snakes, and not saying that they were even in that ballpark.
No, we're not saying that. We just went down that road.
Yeah, but yeah, like if you consider how these guys would have looked, and I think the thing that would have struck against them, and probably did work that way with the Whitesnake lineup, is there wasn't really that unified look. They're all kind of doing the, you know, Mickey Moody had his hat and his like boots, and Bernie Marsden was wearing whatever, like a sports jersey, and Coverdale was doing his thing, and then you had, you know, everyone was doing their own look, and I think they were looking for bands to be a little more cohesive.
Right. I mean, that's why when they, you know, they were, you know, had fashion designers, they would actually design their outfits in the 80s, so everybody from all these bands would look like they are in the same band. I mean, it was, you know, everybody, you know, down the line, a lot of them even used like the same designers, you know, which is like why a lot of these clothes were like very looked very similar, very glitzy, very you know, yikes.
Well, it was like that Seinfeld bit where he talks about, like, I forgot how he gets there, but he's talking about, you know, in the future, everyone, you know, at what point in the future does everyone decide that they're all going to wear the same thing, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Hey, we might get some encounters from aliens sometime soon, so let's all decide on a uniform. We're gonna wear the silver suit with the big V in the front.
Yeah.
Aliens might be visiting us. We want to look like we're a team. So it's one of those kind of things. And when you think about those like movies like that, all the folks in the future wearing the same thing. Some of the bands looked like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we only got a couple more left, but this last one is, I believe, I might be wrong on this one, but either way, it's touching. But it might be the last time that Bernie Marsden shared a stage with Coverdale when he joined him at a Whitesnake show. And here we go.
Celebrating 35 years of Whitesnake, say hello to Mr. Bernie Marsden!
Wow.
So Doug Aldrich giving him a big slap on the back.
He's a soul fire!
I love it. This was MCR Arena, Manchester, UK, May 23rd, 2013. That's cool because he actually did a similar thing with Steve Vai in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool because I know they had their differences over the years, but it's cool that they could remain at this level because it's something you would never see as Ritchie Blackmore just coming on stage for one song.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just not going to happen.
And I mean, these guys aren't the same level, of success or notoriety, but it is cool to see for us big fans of Whitesnake.
Red Beach, I think, is on stage. Oh, there he is. I hadn't seen him until just now. And they have the old school Whitesnake logo up there, which is cool.
Yeah, I love that.
So cool seeing like modern Whitesnake with this style guitar solo.
Yeah.
What's great, he comes on stage, he's wearing a suit. You
Yeah.
got Doug Aldrich with the leather vest all open, showing his chest.
His blonde locks.
His blonde locks, and Bernie Marsden looks.
He just comes out like an elder statesman of like the blues, like his blazer.
Yeah, exactly, like the blazer. He's not wearing a button-up shirt underneath, but he's still like.
I mean, even Coverdale looks a little more loosey-goosey than me. He's wearing like all like, tattered jeans and like his oversized Whitesnake button up.
Yep.
But hey, the man can play.
It's like Bernie and Michael Devon are the only two that are covering up their chests. There he goes with the microphones.
Oh, Coverdale.
He just received so much joy. So then they go into an extended "Here I Go Again" at the end, but a very fun performance there.
Yeah, that was cool. I'd never seen that.
Yeah, it was really cool stuff. I think Jorg sent me that one.
I was hoping that he'd get the solo, because sometimes they have these, guest guitar players come on and they just, stand in the background and play like a rhythm.
You wonder if they're even plugged in. Yeah.
But I mean, even if they are, it's just like, I didn't wait my whole life to see these guys reunite for him to just strum some chords in the background, play a goddamn solo. So
yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some really good stuff. So there's one more track, but I think that might be something to end it with. So before we do that, we got our foundation level patrons, of course, to thank. And coming in at, give me a second here, coming in at the £3.50 Deep Purple New York tier, we have Lord Longford. At the £3 aromatic feed tier, Simon Ford. At the $3.33 halfway to evil tier, we have Stephen Sharp and Duncan Leask. At the $3 nobody's perfect tier, we have Peter Gardeau, Ian DeRosier, Mark Roback, Stuart McCord, Ivan Fjeldbu, Runar Simonson, JJ Stenard, Ruinous Inadequacies, John Maselli,
You know anything about bisexuals?
and Michael Boyette and Corey Morissette. At the $1.71 I Want My Own tier, we have
Rich, Yangui, Shaylor.
At the 10 kroner tier, we have Karsten Lau. At the Fool for Your Dying tier, we have Leaky Mausoleum, Stephen Somerville, the Concerto 1999 Fanatic, Hank the Tank, Private Eyes, Ashen Lionel,
Blackmore tights,
Steve Down to Earth Kohler, and Zwapper the Electric Alchemist. Thank you very much to all of you for your generous support at the Deep Purple Podcast. You can become a patron too. Go to deeppurplepodcast.com if you want to see how to sign up, or just search for us on Patreon. And before I got one thing to play us out. It's something we've played on the show before, to celebrate another lost legend, and I thought it would be probably the ideal way to close out this episode with the same exact song and performance, given who he's performing with in that particular video. But any closing thoughts or remarks before we put a pin in this one?
Put a pin in it. Yeah, it was great to remember Bernie. Like I said, kind of unsung hero. Great to see, a little glimpse, a little perspective of his career beyond Whitesnake, and just all the words that everybody spoke about him, and just seeing like what a great singer and player he is, even in the few clips that we showed. Just kind of, I hope that reminds everybody what a great person and player he was, and we should go check out more of his music.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, a few to round it out. Phil Campbell writing says, just heard the sad news that dear Bernie Marsden passed away. What a lovely man he was, and his contribution to rock music was immense. R.I.P. Bernie. Reb Beach R.I.P. Bernie Marsden. He was a really good guy and a great guitarist. He would come and jam with us when we were in town. He always showed up early because he loved hanging with the band. This is Rick Wakeman replying on the original post. A gentle and great guy and a great musician. He's left me and so many others with fantastic music and memories. Sincere condolences to you all. And then Vernon Reed writing, very saddened to hear of the passing of Bernie Marsden, a fantastic blues rock player of extraordinary taste, feel, and wily good humor. A player's player. The world of electric guitars lost a gentleman and scholar of the first rank. And then Living Color account replied and quote tweeted that and showing a picture of Bernie playing with Living Color. There's Vernon Reed beside him. It says, rest in peace, Bernie Marsden. Speaking of the Deep Purple New York connection.
Yeah.
And there's just a picture of one of the later pictures of Bernie. So, yep, it's a sad thing, but yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. Just an all around great player. Not a, didn't ever seem to have this big ego about him, and influenced so many people. And yeah, just sad to see him have gone. But I think any of us could be lucky and thankful if we could have contributed even one iota of the amount of amazing culture and music that he's contributed to the world. So much of what he did and wrote, it influenced so many. And even if you didn't know the name, there's not a walking soul that doesn't know Here I Go Again, which is
right.
Which is what we're gonna close it out with. And this is from the Endangered Species performance. This is Bernie Marsden, Abbey Road with John Lord. We watched this at one of the John Lord, like I said, at one of the John Lord tribute episodes that we did. This is them performing together. Here we go.
We're going to do a song that has been very good to me, and we played it the other day, just the two of us at John's house, and that's how we're going to do it tonight. So hope you like it. I think you'll know it when we do it. John's going to introduce it for you.
I'm sure some people in the audience knew what was coming, but John Lord's kind of, you can tell he's kind of filling time because he keeps looking over to see if Bernie's ready, if he's his guitar ready.
I love how he keeps looking.
Bernie's tuning up the acoustic here.
They're already singing it.
Beat me to it. Here we go. I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been. I'm hanging on to promises and songs of yesterday, and I made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. And though I keep searching for an answer, I never seem to find what I'm looking for. Lord, I pray you give me strength to carry on, 'cause I know how it feels to walk along the lonely street street of dreams. Come on. Here I go again on my own.
Okay, it kind of sings that like harmony part.
Going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. And I made up my
He does go with the
mind.
drifter line.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't harken back to the
I
hobo
ain't
line.
wasting no more time.
I mean, I think we're all glad.
Here I go again.
He's probably like the cold Coverdale.
Here I go again.
But he didn't listen
Hold
to
him.
Geffen told him.
Here I go again. Here I go again. Though I'm searching for an answer, I never seem to find what I'm looking for. Babe, I pray you give me strength to carry on, 'cause I know how it feels to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known.
We did this on a show years ago. It's
Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone.
every time I see this, it's like such a great
I made up
heartfelt
my
part of the song.
mind.
Yeah, I like how he sings it.
I ain't wasting no more time. Sing the chorus. Here I go again on my own,
This is a small show.
going down
I feel like
the
it
only
does its best
road
with
I've
like
ever known.
300 people or something there.
Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone.
Quite a few episodes in this performance too, because he's got
I
so many
know
greats
how
throughout
it feels
it was really kind of centered
to
around
walk
Tony Ashton,
along the lonely street of dreams.
but parts like this. that
And
come out of it.
here I go again, wasting my whole life. Here I go again. What can I do? Here I go again. Here I go again. Here I go again.
Wow. Really good.
John Lowe. Thank you.
Look at that. It's like a friggin'
Thank
like
you very much.
full gym of like people.
Yeah, just a few.
God, imagine that.
Imagine being there. Well, with that, folks, we will see you next week, and be ready to. Who knows what we're diving into, because we've kind of put a little bit of a monkey wrench into our schedule, but we'll figure it out. We'll be back with you next week for another topic, and go spin some Bernie Marsden. Whether it's, who knows, maybe it's Cozy Powell's Hammer, maybe it's some of Bernie Marsden's solo stuff. Talked to Jonathan Hedlund a while back ago. We want to have him on for Bernie solo album, because he's got some really, really great solo albums. But lots of material to cover, so thanks for joining us. Celebrate Bernie. Get him some listens on Spotify, or better yet, buy his actual albums.
Yes.
Add them to your collection. So we'll see you next week, folks.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the Deep Purple Podcast. If you like what you hear and would like more episodes in the future, please donate on Patreon to support the show. You can also leave us a review in Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for show updates. See deeppurplepodcast.com for more details. Thank you for listening.